Hey, and shalom. Doing it a bit different today. Brother Dwight here. Public service announcement. The King James Bible University, a place of learning, dedicated solely to what thus saith the Lord our God, JEHOVAH. The KJBU is not connected to any Christian, Israelite camp, Hebrew, monastery, whatever they want to call themselves, any external organization in this world that can be thought of. The KJBU stands alone. The Word of God here at the KJBU and under its umbrella is not monetized. This is for KJBU, the house of the lost sheep of Israel, the house of JEHOVAH. It is free. We stand exclusively on the 1611 King James Bible with the Apocrypha. And the Apocrypha are the 14 books removed from between Malachi and Matthew in this incomplete 66 version of the King James Bible used elsewhere. All teachings, whether from elders, evangelists, deacons, or teaching brothers with this banner, are grounded strictly in the instructions and truth found within the complete 81 book version of the 1611 King James Bible alone. Our focus remains on rightly dividing the word of truth as it is written, without addition, subtraction, or outside influence of other worldly doctrines. So, with that, again, this is Brother Dwight, and welcome to part 2 of the Appeasing plant. So, diving right into it. Ah, top right, we can see we are on the section of the moon. These carnal goods, these fleshly goods. And the moon is the reflector of light on a lesser scale, meaning carnal, when the sun is on the backside of the earth. So, diving onto the first verse, going to Mark 13 and 24. Left side. But in those days, after that tribulation, the sun shall be darkened, and the moon, those carnal desires, or excuse me, the law, shall not give her light. And that her, let's look at this really quickly. That her is wisdom, God's wisdom. It will not be given for those operating according to the moon on the carnal side. Heading over to Wisdom of Solomon 7:22 through 23 and verse 30. Bottom right, for wisdom, which is the worker of all things, taught me, clarifying, for in her, that wisdom, is an understanding spirit, holy, separated, one only, manifold, diverse, subtle, lively, clear, undefiled, plain, not subject to hurt, loving the thing that is good, quick, which cannot be letted, ready to do good. Verse 23, kind to man, steadfast, that's being faithful, sure, free from care, having all power, overseeing all things, and going through all understanding, pure, important, and most subtle spirits. Jumping to verse 30, for after this cometh night, clarifying, but vice shall not prevail against wisdom. And we're back to the moon. Those carnal goods shall not prevail against wisdom. From here, heading over to Romans 7 and 23. Left side, and it reads, but I see another law in my members, warring. Because on the one hand, we have the spirit. On the other, we have this carnal good, this fleshly good. So the spirit being the sun, giving the law, and we have the moon, these carnal, fleshly goods. Back to it. Warring against the law of my mind, that spirit, that inner part. Top right, that conscience, pushing forward and bringing me into captivity to the law of sin. Back to that carnal good, which is in my members. Um, from here, Romans 2:14, going to be at the bottom right. For when the Gentiles, which have not the law, these are the heathens, um, these Gentiles, spiritual dictionary, top right, back at the bottom right, do by nature the things contained in the law, these, having not the law, are a law unto themselves. Hashtag I do what I want type of time. From here, heading up to verse 12, same chapter, same book. Here we go. Romans 2:12. For as many as have sinned without the law shall also perish without the law. Clarifying. And as many as have sinned in the law shall be judged by the law. Those that are made aware of the law sin as though they aren't aware of the law to do good. Doing what I want attitude. Knowing the law exists doesn't mean automatically living righteously by knowing. From here, left side, Proverbs 15:2. The tongue of the wise useth knowledge, right, clarifying, but the mouth of fools poureth out foolishness, bringing that warring situation of the flesh and spirit together. And this is the outcome of it. Those that hold to wisdom aright, being upright, wise. Those that are spewing out foolishness, fools. So essentially, this is day one action before the morning, giving praise and glory to flesh while living in the world that appears and having no spiritual understanding and comprehension. Romans 10:3, bottom right. This is for the Gentiles. For they, being ignorant of God's righteousness, and going about to establish their own righteousness, have not submitted themselves unto the righteousness of God. That concludes for the moon. Onto the cloud, the spirit. Gonna be picking this up at Ezekiel 16:24, little spiel for the plant and these clouds, because the clouds that are around the Earth's atmosphere are to replenish the Earth with the collected water that is captured through the Earth's daily evaporation. The situation, though, is that not all clouds that appear to contain water actually contain water to dispense upon the Earth. These are referred to as the overcast upon the Earth that block the natural light for the plants down below them. So, left side, Ezekiel 16:24. And that thou hast also built unto thee an eminent place, and has made thee an high place in every street. Because as mentioned, these clouds, these coverings, they are everywhere. Can't go 3 blocks without seeing one of these eminent air quote places on the corner, right? Or ducked off in a corner with their own mega eminent place. Anywho, off that. This is what's being referred to as the overcast. Isaiah 5:23, bottom right. Because not only do they have these eminent places everywhere, Isaiah 5:23, this is what they are doing, which justify the wicked for reward, and take away the righteousness of pertaining to the righteousness from him. 2 Peter 2:17, left side. These are wells without water, clouds, separated ones, that are carried away with a tempest, that whirlwind, full thought, to whom the midst of darkness is reserved forever. Spiritual ignorance and blindness. Top right, that darkness, as stated, spiritual ignorance, sinfulness, spiritual blindness, no understanding. Isaiah 29:9 and 10, bottom right. Picking it up at A, B, C, D, E. They are drunken, not all carnally, most, but spiritually, all drunken, but not with wine. They stagger, but not with strong drink. Some with strong drink as well, vodka, etc. Verse 10, not the point. For the Lord hath poured out upon you the spirit of deep sleep, and hath closed your eyes, their understanding, clarifying the prophets, those mouthpieces, and your rulers. The seers hath he covered. You're done. Romans 2:15, left side, which show the work of the law written in their hearts, that conscience, mine, their conscience also bearing witness, and their thoughts the meanwhile accusing or else excusing one another. They find with each other. Verse 13. For not the hearers of the law are just before God, but the doers of the law shall be justified. Psalms 58:3, bottom right. So, bottom right, talking about these hearers, or yeah, Psalms 58:3. The wicked are estranged from the womb, clarifying they go astray as soon as they be born. From here, 1 Timothy 4:2, because as soon as they born, 1 Timothy 4:2, speaking lies in hypocrisy, full thought, having their conscience seared with a hot iron, with that hot, fervent strength. Yeah, that oppression. Anywho, these are content with appeasing their own flesh with these carnal goods, seared with that fervent heat with these carnal goods, these fleshly goods, like this. Let's get this iron, this fervent strength of oppression. where they become the instrument of oppression. Right? Uh, these are content with appeasing their own flesh with their fleshly ways of hypocrisy. From here, heading over to 1 Corinthians 2:12. Left side, 1 Corinthians 2:12, and it reads, "Now we have received not the spirit of the world, this moon, these carnal goods, these fleshly goods, but the spirit which is of God." Complete thought. And that spirit is the spirit of JEHOVAH, that we might know the things which are freely given to us of God, which things also we speak, not in the words which man's wisdom teacheth, but which the Holy Ghost teacheth. Complete thought. Comparing spiritual things with spiritual. Um, Next verse. But the natural man receiveth not the things of the Spirit of God, clarifying, for they are foolishness unto him. They only see the carnal good. Clarifying, neither can he know them, because they are spiritually discerned. From here, Proverbs 15:4, bottom right. So, bringing these two comparisons to a head, a wholesome, so a pure, let's get it up. So, an unimpaired, a pure, and of integrity tongue that custom practice tradition is a tree of life. Clarification, but perverseness, that wickedness, that sinfulness, that crooked, uh, oh, yeah, okay, that froward, corrupted, twisted wickedness therein is a breach. That's an offense in the spirit. Yeah. And all that perverseness is full of carnal goods, fleshly goods. Here's some truth and then begin to say, well, technically, stop right there. That's crookedness. That's foolishness. Those are the things that we have not received, holding to the Spirit of God. The next section, water is the most precious treasure within existence, both ways. This is talking about her again from Wisdom of Solomon 7. So, picking us up at Habakkuk 2:14, top left, and the precept for water right here, Genesis 1:2 is located here, bottom left. And yeah, study Bible here, feel free. So, top left, Habakkuk 2:14, for the earth shall be filled with the knowledge of the glory of the Lord, as the waters cover the sea. Because for those with no understanding, looking at the precept for Genesis 1 and 2, and the earth was without form and void. That void and confusion. Continuing, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, having no knowledge, full of fleshly desires. Still hitting that moon a bit, but it's all connecting for as it pertains to the plant. So, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters, brought that knowledge. And that same knowledge, that understanding, is what's filling the earth. From here, Wisdom of Solomon, heading back over there, 7:24 through 27. Bottom right. For wisdom is more moving than any motion, clarifying she that her passeth and goeth through all things by reason of her pureness, that wholesomeness. Verse 25. For she is the breath of the power of God and a pure influence flowing from glory of the Almighty. Clarifying, therefore, with that understanding, can no defile thing fall into her. None of that moon, none of the carnal desires, the fleshly goods. Uh huh. 26. For she is the brightness of the everlasting light, the unspotted mirror of the power of God, and including the image of His goodness. 27. Mm. And being but one, she can do all things, clarifying, and remaining in herself, hmm, she maketh all things new. I'm going to come back to that in a second. More clarification. And in all ages entering into holy souls. She maketh them friends of God and prophets. So, backing this bus up, and remaining in herself, she maketh all things new. Focusing right here, and remaining in herself. Top left. This was sparked up. Seek ye out of the book of the Lord and read, clarifying, no one of these shall fail, none shall want her mate. This is Isaiah 34:16. And this got sparked with Wisdom of Solomon 7:27, and remaining in herself. No one of these shall fail, none shall want her mate. Remaining within herself. Anywho, I'm gonna add 28 to this for Wisdom of Solomon 7 and 28. For God loveth none but him that dwelleth with wisdom. Yeah. Uh, actually, I'm gonna throw 29 in there as well. For she is more beautiful than the sun, and above all the order of stars. Clarification. Being compared with the light, she is found before it. Yeah, I like that. That's hot. Okay. Okay. Press forward. Sirach 42:21. Because remaining within herself, this is what wisdom's doing. He had garnished Wisdom of Solomon, Sirach 42:21. He had garnished the excellent works of his wisdom, and he is from everlasting to everlasting. Clarification. Unto him may nothing be added, neither can he be diminished. And he hath no need of any counselor. From here, staying in Sirach, heading over to chapter 43 down to 33. For the Lord hath made all things. Complete thought. And to the godly hath he given wisdom. That's it. That's all. Exodus 31:3, bottom left. And it reads, "And I have filled him with the Spirit of God, in wisdom, and in understanding, and in knowledge, and in all manner of workmanship." Deuteronomy 4:6. Bottom right. Keep, maintain, guard, therefore, with that understanding, and do them. Complete thought. For this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations, which shall hear all these statutes. And these statutes, these tokens, the image, this, these paths to follow, to do good, and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people. Proverbs, top left, 1:7. A little compare and contrast here. Because there are those living according to the sun and those living according to the moon, those fleshly goods, and the flesh and the spirit, spirit and the flesh. Here's the comparison for what determines the fear, that desire, that, as stated, here we go, top right, that desire of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. Clarification. But fools despise wisdom and instruction. Bottom right, Proverbs 4:7, because as stated in the beginning of this section, water is the most precious. Proverbs 4:7, wisdom, the principal thing, full thought. Therefore, get wisdom, that knowledge and understanding, clarification, and with all thy getting, get understanding. End of this section. Next section, the plant, vessel. The plant is the product of a combination of many factors of its environmental acceptance, to include the space that the seed is occupying in the ground, imbalanced, dry, or well nourished with minerals, clean or toxic water, a good source of light, or planted in a location that does not receive full light, but is always under an overcast of clouds in the shade of perpetual darkness. Second Esdras 3, 4, and 5. Top left. O Lord, who bearest rule, thou spakest at the beginning, when thou didst plant the earth, and that thyself alone, and commandedst the people. 5. And gavest the body unto Adam, mankind, without soul, which was the workmanship of thine hands, guidance, power, and didst breathe into him the breath of life, and he was made living before thee. So, hidden this precept for this vessel, this atom. Uh, Bottom right, 2 Timothy 2:20. Hidden this one because in this whole appeasing plant lesson, it's been illustrating the back and forth, how the duality of the plant, good, evil, life, death, things being chosen. 2 Timothy 2:20, bottom right. But in a great house, there are not only vessels of gold and silver, but also wood and earth. Complete thought. And some to honor, and some to dishonor. And these are the breaks. But the hope of the willing plant, Leviticus 1 and 9. So, bottom left, but his inwards and his legs, that washing that conscience with refreshing its strength and stability, those legs. Let's get it up. There we go. Top, top right. The legs, that that strength and stability, that support, that path, that journey shall he wash. Kind of got ahead of myself a second, but shall he refresh in water, the knowledge. Clarifying. And the priest shall burn all on the altar to be a burnt sacrifice, that oblation right there, an offering, that gift made by fire, desire of a sweet savor unto the Lord. And who doesn't like an appeasing sweet savor? I like honey buns. And the smell of cinnamon rolls. Okay. Pushing forward. Ezekiel 16:9, then 8. Bottom right. So then for the willing, here we go. Then washed I thee in water, that knowledge and understanding, for thought, yea, I thoroughly washed away thy blood, the lifestyle, from thee, and I anointed thee with oil. And that oil, let's get it up. The blessing, the wisdom and knowledge giving, the prosperity and the healing being the plan. That regeneration, right? Uh-huh. Okay, verse 8. Where's my cursor? Now will I pass by thee, and looked upon thee, behold, thy time was the time of love, that promise, complete thought. And I spread my skirt, that covering, over thee, and covered thy nakedness, that sinfulness, that wickedness. Clarifying, yea, I swear unto thee, and entered into a covenant with thee, saith the Lord God, and thou becamest mine. Otherwise, this concludes this section. Moving on to the roots. Final section. A plant grows to receive its nourishment from the sprouted seed's roots. Provided water absorbed from the surrounding earth, a space in the earth to plant roots is required, along with time to produce leaves and fruit with seed, to create an everlasting rotation of plants. Kicking us off at Genesis 1:20, bottom left. And God said, let the waters, that knowledge and understanding, bring forth abundantly the moving creature that hath life, and fowl that may fly above the earth in the open firmament of heaven. Deuteronomy 11:18, bottom right. Therefore, with that understanding, shall ye lay up these my words in your heart, conscience, and in your soul, and bind them for a sign, as evidence right there, upon your hand, guidance, that they may be as frontlets between your eyes, your understanding. 19. And ye shall, mandatory, teach them your children, speaking of them when thou sittest in thine house, and when thou walkest by the way, when thou liest down, and when thou risest up. 20. And thou shalt, mandatory, write them upon the doorposts of thine house. That's that vessel tattooed on the mind, the conscience. And upon thy gates. Same thing. Genesis, bottom left. Genesis 9:16, bottom left. And the bow, that image. Let's get it up. And the bow, the prophet, that image, that similitude, shall be in the cloud, that spirit, complete thought, and I will look upon it, that I may remember the everlasting covenant between God and every living creature of all flesh that is upon earth. And let me say, the living creature, that's the ordained man, not just anything living all willy-nilly. No. But anywho, closing this out, Colossians 1:19 through 23. We're going to lock this up. For it pleased the Father that in him should all flesh dwell. Complete thought. 20. And including having made peace through the blood lifestyle of pertaining to his cross suffering, by him to reconcile all things unto himself. Complete thought. By him, I say, whether they be things in earth or things in heaven. 21. And you, that were sometime alienated and enemies in your mind by wicked works, yet now hath he reconciled. 22. In the body of his flesh covering through death, to present you holy, separated, and unblameable, and unreprovable in his sight. Clarifying. And final verse. If, providing, you continue in the faith, grounded and settled, and be not moved away from the hope of the gospel, which you have heard, and which was preached to you, preached to every creature which is under the heaven. For thought, whereof I, Paul, am made a minister. And this is appeasing. This is pacifying, reconciling us to him. And with that, this is Brother Dwight. I hope someone was edified. I thank you for your time. Shalom.